Let me take you back in time. It's the late 1980s, and there's a premier college baseball program that produced many players that made it to the next level. The program had one manager and it had a coach. The program had one manager and it had a coach, and they were complete opposites. Now, they both had a strong love and passion for the game of baseball, but that's where their commonalities ended. The manager was traditional. Some would call him old school in his teaching and motivational techniques. The coach was progressive. Some would call him a player's coach today in his teaching and motivational styles and techniques. Now, the team had incredible success, and it was due to many factors, but the future of the manager and the coach went in complete different directions. Now, while they both had equal skills and knowledge to succeed in the game of baseball, their abilities to lead and motivate the players, they were not equal. Now, the manager was a good person. This has nothing to do with him as a person. Great guy, but he just had an old school mindset. He led by fear. He lacked flexibility. He was ultra strict with the policies that were not compatible with that era's players. He was too focused on the players' failures without recognizing their successes. He managed them out of fear with little to no fun. He called people out, embarrassed them in front of the other teammates, and really only possessed the ability to motivate just a few players on the team. Some people would call them the favorites. Now, the amazing part with this manager is he was given a job in the professional baseball ranks because they thought he could duplicate the same success he had in college with professional players. Needless to say, his career in professional baseball ended shortly after taking that challenge. So what happened? What changed? Why did he fail? Well, I'm sure there were many reasons, but one of the biggest was he no longer had the coach by his side that could create a culture of motivation, inspire the players, and push them through the adversity and help develop the potential that each one of them had. So why was the program successful? Well, it had a lot to do with the unique ability and power the coach had to make the players want to run through a brick wall for them. Heck, one day the coach sat in his office on a recruiting visit with an 18-year-old cocky player and his parents. And this player was probably not as good as he thought he was, but the coach spent the entire time asking the parents questions, finding out about what was important to the parents instead of just trying to sell them on why that player needed to come play for their program. And it may sound basic, but when the coach closed the parents and the kid on coming to play at their program, he didn't close them on why it's a great baseball program. He closed them on the fact that your son's going to enter this program as a boy and he's going to leave as a man. I know that sounds like a sales pitch, and it's great to get the kid into the program, but what the coach did do different that delivered such consistent high level of success was that he found out what motivated the players on the field and off the field. Now, he didn't just find out what motivated them, he knew how to take what motivated them and get the kids to run through that brick wall for him. He was actually motivating them, recognizing them, and rewarding them based on their progress, based on production, and he created healthy levels of competition while having fun in the process. When the players would show up to practice every day, rarely was it just boring and mundane as practice can be. He would always turn the monotonous skills and drills into fun games and competitions. And the last thing the players ever wanted to do was lose, because if you were the loser or non-winner for you compassionate people out there, you would be punished. Winners were rewarded, losers were punished. Extra field maintenance, running, extra practice time. But the great thing about his games and competition, they were purposeful. They were well thought out, and the end result was being highly motivated, highly talented teams that never wanted to let down the coach. And I'm not saying it was always unicorns and cotton candy. Man, he wouldn't hesitate to be firm and strict when he needed to be, but the bottom line is he had built up the positive emotional bank account so much that when he had to make a withdrawal, his checks never bounced. Bottom line, he knew how to maximize every player's potential, create internal motivation, and keep a fun and competitive atmosphere, whether the team was on a 10-game winning streak or a 5-game slump. He was a master motivator and made a difference in every one of his players' lives. And the cool thing, over 30 years later, he's still in the game of baseball, making a positive difference. I can attest to the coach's influence. Why? Because I was that 18-year-old kid that was overconfident and was about to have a life-changing experience. He wasn't only our coach, he was our friend, our mentor, and our leader because he truly cared about each and every one of us. We weren't just baseball players to him. And over 30 years later, we stay in touch on a regular basis. And every time I talk to Coach, he's always reminding me about what's most important in life. So I ask you, do you motivate your people or intimidate them? Are you managing out of inspiration or are you managing out of desperation? Are your salespeople selling out of fun or out of fear? Have you created a culture of competition or a culture of complacency? Will your people look back in 5, 10, 30 years and name you as the person that made a difference in their lives? Bottom line, 30 years from now, if I asked your players who made a difference in their lives, will they say it was you? Will they remember your name? Or will they not even remember who you are? Are you going to be memorable or are you going to be forgettable?